Hello. Good morning. Welcome to our GCSE class chemistry and also for class 12 chemistry for today. Now we are looking at naming of organic compounds and naming of organic compounds in chemistry. Um, there are rules we are going to apply. I'm going to give you three rules that we are going to use to name this organic compound here. Rule number one is rule number one is identify. Rule number one, identify the longest continuous carbon chain. Identify the longest continuous carbon chain. Now, look up here. Which of these is, how do we identify the longest continuous carbon chain? By counting. Let's start counting from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 carbon. Start counting from here. 1, 2, 3. 3 carbon. Start counting from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 carbon. So the longest chain is 6 carbon. Look at what we mean by chain. Look at this thing. You have something like this. You have something like this. You have something like this. Then you have something like this. This is what we call a chain. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is what we mean by chain. So look at this chain. This to this, there are 2 here. This to this, there are 2 here. This to this, there's 1 down here. This to this, there's 1 down here. This, there's 1 up here. Then there's 1 here. This is the chain. All this represent 1 carbon, 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 carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is what we mean by the longest continuous carbon chain. So there are 6 chains here. And that's what will help us to know what the parent name is. Now, for example, how do we get the parent name? When we have 1, it is called met. Met is 1. This is alkane. So et is 2. Then prop is 3. But is 4. Pent is 5. X is 6. Hept is 7. Hept is 7. Oct is 8. Non is 9. Dec is 10. So since there are 6 carbon here, that means this is an hexane. 6. Now let's number it from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 carbon, that is an hexane. So the longest chain is 6, that's an hexane. That has been settled. Let's go to rule number 2. Rule number 2, number the carbon atom by giving the lowest number. By giving the lowest number to the substituent, and functional groups. Give the lowest number to the substituent and functional groups. Come back here now. Do we have substituent here? Yes. Now, this is CH3 here is a substituent. It's called a methyl. It belongs to the group called the alkyl group. Then chlorine, and bromine, they are functional groups. They belong to the group called the halogens. Group 7. Group 7 elements on the periodic table are called halogen. So chlorine, bromine, the 3 of them are halogens. So they are functional groups. So the rule number 2 says we should number it by giving them the smallest number. So we have numbered this from here. Let's also number from here. Then we pick which of the 2 is correct. 1. Let's also number from here. This is carbon 1. This is carbon 2. Carbon 3, carbon 4, carbon 5, carbon 6. So now I want to know which of these 2 will give me the smallest number. We are going to number it by giving the smallest number to the substituent here and the functional groups. Now rule number 3, before we name it, before we do that, let me give you the rule number 3 before we name the compound. Rule number 3 says that if there are 2 If there are two or more substituents, name them substituent or functional group. Name them in alphabetical order. Name them in alphabetical order. If there are two or more substituents, you have to name them in alphabetical order. In this case now, we have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 functional groups and 1 substituent. So if there are 2 or more substituents or functional groups, you have to name them in alphabetical order. If there are 2 or more substituents or functional groups, you have to name them in alphabetical order. Let me write that, please. 2 or more substituents or functional groups. 2 or more substituents or functional groups name them in alphabetical order. Okay, let's do that now. Come back here now. We have let's start naming from here. If you start naming from here, the methyl here is on carbon number 2. The bromine here is on carbon number 4. If you start naming from down here, looking at the numbering, bromine is on carbon number 4. So, and bromine, B come before C, alphabetical order. Following rule number 3, B will come before C. So, we are going to have 4 bromo. Then, after B, next is C, chlorine. Chlorine is on carbon number 5, and there are 2 chlorine. We have 1 chlorine up, 1 chlorine down. No, sorry, let me do something here. Let me clean this numbering. I'm going to write it again. I don't want it to get confused. Let me clean this. So, now we have 2 chlorine, we have 1 up, 1 down. So, we have 5. Why am I writing 5? Because there are 2 chlorine on carbon number 5. And that is dichloro. Di means 2. 5,5-dichloro. If it is 3, we use tri. If it is 4, we use tetra. 5,5-dichloro. Then methyl is on carbon number 2. Then 2-methyl. Then there are 6 carbons. So the parent name is hexane. So we have named this compound. This is the first way to name it. Now let's name it the other way. Now I'm going to clean the numbering down. Let me number it also from up. Let me clean everything here. I want to number it again from up. Okay, let me number it from here. See this: carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3, carbon 4, carbon 5, carbon 6. Now let's name it the other way. Let's name it now. Now on carbon number 3, now we have bromine. That is 3-bromo. Then on carbon number 2, we have chlorine. That is 2,2-dichloro. On carbon number 5, we have methyl. 5-methyl Now, which of these 2 is correct? Now, come back to rule number 2. Number the carbon atoms by giving the lowest number. In which of these 2 do we have the lowest number given to the substituent and functional groups? If you look at the first one, the bromine is 4. Second one, bromine is 3. The 2 chlorine here are 5